I have like two interesting, like sort of like analogies. One is kind of like the iOS versus Android analogy, where, you know, sometimes people like Android because you can customize a bunch of stuff, but then a lot of times the core stuff just doesn't work well. And that's why probably everybody on this call has an iPhone. I don't know. But, I love it when you buy a new Apple device like AirPods or whatever, and it just connects or works beautifully already. And I think that there's something to be said around that, sort of like the core platform of the core OS being the same. On the other hand, I will say there's some specific needs like deduplication, you know,
Mhm.
that you just kinda need something to help you out. So I don't know. In this I would say in this debate of point solutions versus point, I'm, like, on the fence, and I would love one of you to convince me to sway one way or the other.
Yeah, so I think you bring up a couple interesting points, like email, right? Your iPhone has an email app built into it. In my case, in my, bottom menu bar, I've got the Gmail app. To me, that's not a point solution. My G Suite is in another platform that I'm connecting to my iOS, which is so basically bolting two platforms together. Or in our case, our customers are bolting Excel events, their event management platform, onto HubSpot or to Salesforce. But you're connecting two platforms that are filling that entire vertical together instead of these individual components of that. Phil, going back to one of your points, where a lot of these point solutions end up getting acquired. If you look at Salesforce, for example, they're a company where through acquisitions, it's been love Salesforce, love HubSpot, don't mean to dunk on either of them. There's my disclaimer. But there's been circumstances where third parties have been more well integrated than acquisitions have been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, I
And
knew
it all
exactly
comes
where you
down
were
to the
going when
data
you
model,
started.
and this is why I love the platform play, right? When you're sitting on a consistent data model, everything is more seamless. It's easier for your internal teams to onboard quicker. They're able to do things on their own. They're empowered. You don't have these owners of these different solutions that have to come in order to make the tool usable. And you don't have the data issue, right? Like, even if you talk about something like lead gen forms on your website, the the way that you're capturing, say, UTM data or your conversion tracking data, all of that has to be mapped. And it often doesn't follow into the native way that the platform was designed for actually capturing that information.
Yeah, the data model argument is interesting. Like that one again, like it depends on the team. Like if I've got a team that has a data engineer on staff and we're a warehouse first stack, like I don't need the platform to do any attribution for me. Like I'm doing that in my own custom tools. I've got iPass set up or I've got API integrations set up with it. Like I don't really care if it's all in one platform because I own it in the warehouse. And that's where like it depends on the team because I think like your counter argument to that could be like, well, not every team is using a warehouse. Not every team has a data engineer that's surfacing marketers. And this idea of like a single data model sounds really great until it's the wrong model for your business and you're forced to figure out a way to use it. Like platforms, in a sense, force conformity with that argument. Like point solutions kind of adapt to whatever reality you have, but it's an interesting argument for sure.
But you're always adopting to something, right? Because the counter is now we're adopting to, frankly, job security for the person who's implemented that.
Mm.
That's a good point. I also think too, one of the other possibilities is that point solutions often solve problems that are like could have been solved with better operations and infrastructure to begin with. I think is something that I've been thinking about. It's kind of like, oh well, we have duplicates. Well, why didn't you set up your data sources correctly? To why are there duplicates to begin with? Like you did it wrong. Or so I think that there's something to be said around point solutions treating the symptoms rather than the root cause.
Mm.
And I like in our daily life, a lot of times we'll like people turn to like drugs or caffeine or like all these things to like get psyched up, but the core problem is you're just not sleeping well. You have to sleep. Humans need to sleep. So I don't know. That's something I've been thinking about too.